Welcome back to a Dee And A Don. This is Pat.
I'm Pat. I'm the D.
I'm Dave. I'm the Don. Pretty big week in footy, Paddy. Obviously, or a couple of weeks. Obviously, you guys sacked your coach, and we'll come to that. But in terms of making up the finals this year, huge game last night. Adelaide just getting over the line against Collingwood, who were magnificent, really. And then a couple of stumbles. Freo stumbling against Brisbane at home, and
Yeah.
Gold Coast just didn't seem to turn up against GWS.
Yeah.
Where do
Yeah.
you want to start, mate?
Well, let's start at the Collingwood and Adelaide match. It was a very tight. It was exciting, and I really thought that Collingwood should have won this. They were in the box seat pretty much, from the start. But my issue was after quarter time, they started to become a bit too predictable with their kicking.
Yeah, well, you know what happened after quarter time? The heavens opened. So I think that had a big part to do with the tactics because when they came out early, they were doing all of these little
Hmm.
angles and chip
Yeah,
kicks
yeah,
and just cutting them up.
yeah,
The Crows like to fall back and guard their space and all those
yep,
things. And hitting up on the lead was working really well. But
yep,
of course, once it turns into some sort of biblical flood,
yeah,
it's a bit hard to play dry weather footy and do the little chips. And Collingwood reverted to bomb it down the line. I don't think they've got the game for that, to be perfectly honest. So I think the weather hurt them. Um, if I was a Pies fan, I would have been pretty proud of how they came out. What were they,
right.
33 to 8 in the first
They
quarter?
should have won it in the first quarter. They kicked five goals and they four or five behinds as well. So
Mm.
and they missed some gettable goals as well in that first quarter. So they were so far on top of Adelaide, who really just had one scoring shot for one goal.
Yeah, well, Adelaide couldn't get it in the forward line, could they? And
No.
it's the second time in 3 weeks at home because Hawthorn came out and did pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
And again, it was all square sometime in the second quarter, uh,
Mm,
or close enough. And you thought, okay, well, let's see how this goes.
yeah.
And then it seemed like nobody scored for the rest of the game. I remember
Yeah.
checking my phone
Yeah.
just about halfway through the last quarter and going, no one's actually scored in this
Yeah.
in the first 10, 15 minutes of this quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the weather was a huge part of that, but it was just one of those great games where
Mm.
every contest,
It was, yeah, it was
no easy
hard.
kicks. It's no easy kicks.
It's hard. Pressure. Look, it just shows you how much the Pies are missing Bobby Hill, to be honest.
Agreed.
He just brings that unpredictability, across their centre, across their forward. He bobs up for a goal or two and he sets others up as well. You know, they're really missing him. And to be honest, I'm a bit worried about McStay's form as well.
Yes, Membry was better than McStay last
Yeah,
night.
kicked two goals, memory. But McStay,
Yeah, De after a good first week back, his second and third weeks haven't been great.
mm,
It's It's an interesting question with Collingwood. They've lost 6 out of their last 7,
mm,
and they're still in the top 4.
yeah.
Um, do you feel like last night's game gave them a chance to win the flag, or did it put you in the mindset where you go, "All right, I could still see it happening if they finish"? I mean, if I was the Crows, I wouldn't want Collingwood to be coming back again in two
No,
weeks if
no,
they finish
no,
first and fourth.
no. No, you're right. I saw some positive signs with the Pies last night that I kind of didn't see the week
Oh
before.
God, Frampton was so much better this
Yeah,
week than
yeah.
last
Oh,
week,
yeah. That was one.
and Darcy Moore seems a bit better. Um,
Cameron had a great game as well.
yeah, after absolutely
Yeah,
getting wiped by Meek last week. Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. There were some real positive, and I love the way they just doesn't matter how badly they've been playing. They just think they think they
Yeah,
can turn up. Hawthorn are the same.
yeah.
After what Hawthorn did to Adelaide in the first quarter,
Mm,
I said to someone, I don't think Hawthorn's the best team in it, but they do. And I think Collingwood have that too. And
Yeah,
it's such a
yeah,
wide open season.
it is. It is. Tell me, do you think it's time to play Cox? Get Coxie back?
Look,
Just
the only reason you do that, if you want to play the way that they played in the second half, yes, so we're just bombing it high and you need someone to bring it to the ground. But I think they've moved past Cox. Have you given up on McStay?
I don't think I've given up on McStay yet. I mean, he's a very good player when he's marking. He's a strong marker. He's a really good kick, but he's just not getting enough of the ball. But why I thought about Cox was because you could have Cameron actually resting in the forward line as well, and I think Cameron's marking is very good, and he doesn't. I think Cameron could do more damage in the forward line. Bring Coxie in, ruck. I think Coxie's a better tap ruckman, and he can actually bring all those midfielders in, like DeGoey as well.
Yeah. Problem with that theory is that at some stage you would have had Cox against Riley Thilthorpe. And I think that would have been a real problem. That guy is like
Yeah,
he wasn't great all night, but
yeah,
God, when it needed to be won, and they
yeah,
just put him in the ruck for about 15 minutes.
yeah,
I wonder how his tank was going towards the end, but
yeah,
he just wherever he goes, he's like, oh, while I'm here, I'll
yeah,
just take a mark and I'll
yeah.
iron someone out, lay a tackle.
Pretty
It's
impressive, isn't he?
him versus Darcy. I think is a really close debate.
Hmm.
Would you, if you could take one right now? They're 23 and 22 years old. Phil Thorpe's
Yeah.
23. Which one are you taking?
Well, you have a look at how many goals both of them have kicked. They're pretty much on par
Are
as
they?
well.
Because
Yeah.
Darcy's missed a fair bit.
He has. Darcy actually is averaging 3 goals a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very, very impressive. So he's only played 15 games.
Hmm.
He's kicked 45 goals,
Yeah.
right? So I think Phil Thorpe is around that number. And obviously, I think he's played more games. But that said, I also think that Phil Thorpe in the ruck is actually,
A lot better.
yeah, he's better.
Yeah. So I've noticed because I went to watch a couple of Bulldogs games live earlier this year, and I just thought as soon as they took Darcy away from the forward line and put him in the ruck, they were really missing him down forward. Whereas I find with Adelaide, they actually look just as good, if not better, when they put Thilthorpe in the ruck.
Yeah.
So interesting. I guess we have to talk about
Yeah.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Are they the best team in it right now? And is that the same question as do you think they'll win it?
Look, I don't think they're the best in it at the moment. I think Brisbane is for me. Brisbane still have, in my opinion, probably more weapons, and when those weapons are firing, like the Rainers, like the Baileys, who really did come out to play, they bring in so many of their other players, and of course Morris. Again, he's had an absolute blinder of a year, and he kicked 3 more goals or 4 goals again. Jesus.
Every time I think about how good Caddy is, I think, well, in his second year, I think, oh, he's got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And then I look at Morris, who was
Yeah.
recruited in the same
Yeah.
draft, and I think, well,
Yeah.
if that's your measuring stick,
Yeah.
you've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Because Morris is now, what, one of the top 5 or 6
It's got to
full
be.
forwards in the league.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good ones around, but
Yeah. He's left Hipwood for dust. Let's be honest, right? He
well,
went to
Hipwood and Cameron have been a little bit of a worry.
Yeah.
Although it was nice to see Charlie kick 3 goals.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Adelaide.
Yeah.
There's only one thing they haven't got, and that's finals experience. Everything else, they just knocked off their Collingwood hoodoo. They're top of the ladder for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they can not finish top. So that's
Yeah.
ideally 2 home finals.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's 2 home finals either way, but if they went win-win at home, I mean, it's a lot of ifs. There's a lot to come. But I'm hearing people say, "Oh, yeah, but what are they like at the MCG?" And gee, everything except for the losing finals campaign. Like they just haven't been in the finals for 6 or 7 years. Otherwise, you'd be like, "Yeah, they look the goods."
They do. No, they do. I still think that, for example, Collingwood kicked 5 goals against them last night, and I still think that you could cut them up if you're actually, as I said, play unpredictable football. You play some, some short kicks, some long kicks, and then you get them through the corridor.
You can cut them up, but then they cut you right back. Like
Mm,
this is twice now we've gone, oh, what's with that start? And that could be a concern. Like you wouldn't want to do that,
no,
in the prelim or on grand final day.
no,
But you've just always got that
yeah,
firepower
yeah,
with that forward line and that midfield.
yeah.
Just to, you're talking about X Factor. Rankin's got that.
Oh yeah.
And
They haven't got many plays out of form either, do they? I
no.
mean, again, Neil Bullen had another great game. Again, he seems to be pretty much a standard in terms of his output and the pressure that Adelaide do bring in these matches.
Yeah,
But
and I don't think it's a fluke anymore. I think
no,
that back line is actually the best back line in the comp. Guys like Worrell and Keane, like you just got to work out who they are because they're
yeah,
bloody good.
you did mention to me about Keane.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, he's very impressive. 23 possessions I noted in the back line,
mm.
so he's certainly got a lot of output. He's doing a lot right there. Well, that was Adelaide and and Collingwood.
Yeah, it was a good game.
That was a good game, and equally, should we say equally? I wouldn't say equally, to be
Which
honest.
one?
I was going to say Fremantle
No,
and
it was like that in.
GWS.
Oh
So,
no, that was
sorry,
Freo Brisbane.
Freo Brisbane. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
well,
yeah. I agree.
and Gold Coast as well. So I guess the question is: are Freo and the Suns mentally soft
Yeah.
compared to the other finalists? I I feel like Gold Coast haven't quite finished their development, which is weird because a lot of their guys really are at their peak. But in
Mm,
terms of winning mindset that Hardwick's brought,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
just such a huge difference between when they turn up ready to
yeah,
play and when they don't. And
yeah,
GWS just gave them a lesson.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and 3 weeks or 2 weeks out from finals, you probably don't want to be getting one of those. I mean, they're probably a pretty good chance to still to finish top four.
Yeah.
And I
I,
hope
I,
so because
I
it just
saw,
makes it so interesting because on their day they can beat anyone, but
yeah,
they can also just
yeah.
collapse.
Look, I saw similarities with both of those matches, in my opinion, and it was actually the losers, and that was both Fremantle and Gold Coast. They just gave away too much space for kicks, so they weren't on their men. They weren't manning up at all. And so you basically had Brisbane just being patient, chipping the ball around, and the same was exactly with GWS as well. And to be honest, you can't do that. It's fundamental. You need to make sure that you man up on players, right? I don't know what happened in both of those games. I don't know what their tactics were, but it failed.
It's funny when it happens to Freo, you think, oh, is it the coach? And when it happens to Gold Coast, you're like, oh, it's got to be the players.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
Oh,
that's the credits in the bank you get with three
yeah,
premierships.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, Brisbane's going to come back hard after losing to Sydney
yeah,
last week.
yeah,
They're fine away. I actually think they're better away from home than they are at
yeah,
home these days,
yeah,
which is weird.
yeah.
But you just knew they were going to turn up and do a professional
Oh,
job.
absolutely.
And were Freo going to be? To me, Freo is such a sort of emotion
Oh,
team,
I agreed.
and they just looked like they went into their
Yeah,
shells, and Brisbane went, well, this is how we're going to play.
yeah.
And
Totally dominated the play.
yeah, but all the stuff that Sydney had shown about, let's get the forward hand pass,
Mhm.
let's, don't let them get that little kick to centre
Yeah,
half
yeah,
back and then
yeah,
head off, like
yeah.
crowd that space. It was, again, I don't want to blame Longmuir, but it just seemed like that message hadn't been drilled into
No,
them, or if it was, they just ignored it.
no, agreed. And like Patrick Voss, he's had a good year, and you've got a miss there, and Tracy. I think Tracy was probably the only one that really showed up. Started to kick a
Yeah, but that's the
few
thing.
goals. So you can't do that.
I think they've got one key forward and two other guys. I'm an Essendon supporter, and at various times this year, people have gone, "Oh, why did we get rid of Patrick Voss?"
Yeah, yeah,
But then you see him in a big game like that, and you go, "Well, maybe that's it."
yeah, yeah,
Um, I mean, I'm not saying it was a genius move.
yeah.
To be honest, it's kind of hard to say because I don't think you're going to win a premiership with Voss as your best key forward. Can you win it as the second best? A miss doesn't look anywhere near as good as he did a couple of years ago, and you don't want to be going into a final series if they are still not sure about
Yeah,
the form of your three key forwards.
yeah, yeah.
But that brings us to this weekend because whoever loses Bulldogs Freo in Melbourne is gone.
Gone,
Gone.
including the Bulldogs.
Yeah, gone.
Wow,
Yeah, that's in or out.
wow,
Yeah, I might. I'm tempted to go to that game. That'd be a great game. But
that'd be a cracker.
well, do you think Freo are going to turn up? Like, I just don't understand under what circumstance Freo are going to go. All right, this is the line we draw. Because if it's not this weekend,
Yeah, yeah,
then you
yeah,
got to say, all right,
yeah,
they're just mentally soft.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't like saying that about a team, but
Did they choke? I think part of that was choking as well.
yeah, but listen,
5-14, I think they kicked.
did they?
Yeah, it was
Well, that doesn't help.
no,
But
no.
look, I might be going back to a completely different team of players, and I am. James Hird was playing, right? This is how far back I'm going. But we went and we beat Freo. I can't remember whether it was their first finals appearance. And we beat them quite easily. And they were favourites. And it was quite an upset. And their fans clapped them off. And I remember thinking, gee, you're not going to win a flag until you get a little harder on yourselves,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because that season shouldn't be ending right here. And you shouldn't be clapping about this. And I kind of feel like they're just missing that killer edge.
That grunt.
Grunt, yeah, but it seems like a mental thing. If they can come over and knock off Bulldogs, and then, I mean, that would be a tragedy if it's the end for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't think the Bulldogs are going to win it because when you hear a coach say, well, if they kick 10 goals, we'll kick 11.
Yeah.
I don't think suddenly Beveridge doesn't know how to coach. It's just he is lacking a key back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that'll be interesting. Like, they should be going for Silvani, Ridley, whoever they can get their hands on because Lob only just learned how to play key defence, and I don't think Liam Jones is coming back. So
Yeah.
they're going to have to work something out. But, I mean, let's not do their epitaph just yet. So next week, that game is for who misses their 8. And it's looking like the other one, who was it, Brisbane Hawthorn Sunday night.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Oh, that's
tuck
mouthwatering.
yourself into that. 7 Sunday night. Winner of that, looking like top 4.
Yeah.
Loser, 5-8. So it doesn't get much bigger than those two. So quite looking forward to those. I mean, we won't do predictions, but we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Can I talk about the Lions' performance as well? We talked to it briefly, but once again, Zach Bailey, he's having an absolute ripper of a year. Is he in all Australia?
It's funny
funny
because he has these games where you see him and you go,
Wow.
that's all Australian.
Almost goal of the year. You see the goal behind his head, and
I mean, I haven't been able to work out all year
tricks.
who's had a better year, him or Rayner.
Yeah.
I think they've both been great. Your boy Fletcher played very well. But for me, the thing about Brisbane is they suddenly, the week before, were missing a lot of their defence. And I thought, how many of these defenders, how long are they out for?
Yeah.
And then I think Leicester came back,
Yeah.
Starcevic came back, and their defence looked good again.
Yeah, with Harris Andrews, of course. He just looks, again, like he's impenetrable. He's just taking a lot of marks.
Yeah, well, Jackson Payne's not coming back. So to cover him, they've actually done pretty well. Are they still your pick for the flag?
For me, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the experience they've had, they're a bit, last year, obviously, their ability to, go to, I guess, another stadium, which is against you pretty much, and then comprehensively win, to me, is, a markings of a incredible team, a great team.
So that's the grand final I want to see. Brisbane, Adelaide. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great match.
Yeah. It's hard to work out who Brisbane would be playing in the grand final, in my opinion. Like the balls are up in the air, really, aren't
Who could pick this
they? Yeah.
final series?
Yeah.
But I could see Adelaide winning
Yeah.
two finals at home,
Yeah.
and then heading into the grand final.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? We don't even know who's going to win Brisbane Hawthorn. So
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about GWS as well. Can we talk about GWS?
briefly, then I want to get onto your coaching.
You know, I'm not actually trying to delay this. Okay, well let's talk about GWS again. Toby Green, you know, he's a real barometer for that side, isn't he? Really, every time he seems to be in the mat or he's actually playing at the moment, they just seem like they're just a different team.
Yeah, but it's all run and gun with them, right? They give up. The numbers are ridiculous. They give up so many inside 50s, and their defense is really good and it saves them a lot. But
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Is it something about their midfield that's like we either win it and we tear
Yeah.
you to pieces, or if you guys have it, well, it's your turn?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can't. I mean, Gold Coast just weren't in a mental frame, I think, to put them to the sword or to damage them. But that's what you got to do against GWS because you're going to get your turn. You're going to have your lots and lots of forward entries, and if you can connect, I mean, you know they're going to. But I just worry about defensive zone or whatever we're calling, just transition, defense transition into defense, just stopping the other teams getting so many inside 50s because I think that'll
Do you
probably
think
be
they've
their
got a
undoing.
bit of a weakness around that?
Oh, absolutely. Like all year, the numbers of how many, like their defense are like, can you cut us some slack? Do you reckon you can pick up your man? Because, there's only so many times. Because Buckley's been out, I think, and they need to get him back. But Taylor's and a
Yeah.
lot of the others.
Iden's
Yeah.
there, and
And
he's,
who's your big, not Perryman,
oh yeah, Himmelberg.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, they're good too. I think they could beat anyone on their day, but I think if you sat down and had a look at how to play them, just cut Callahan out, and when you get it,
but they do have some other players there, like Jones, number 2.
yeah,
He is fast, and he really pressures. I saw some of the tackling he did, and his second and third efforts
Yep.
to get across and be able to impact the play so that the opposition aren't kicking, efficiently, and
agreed.
the turnover happens the
Yeah.
other way.
Yeah, I think it's their midfielders who could take a little bit of a leaf out of his book, to be
Yeah,
honest. But
yeah.
I mean, I haven't worked him out, but I think you could. Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah.
So I don't have them.
Can't see them. as
No,
being
it's weird
deep
because
into
I
the
think on their
finals.
day they could really upset someone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't see it happening 3 weeks in a row
Yeah.
or 4.
No, there were three Ripper games. So, okay, well, let's talk about it.
You lost a coach, mate.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, my crystal ball when I rubbed it last week or the week before, I thought they wouldn't sack him. Even next year, I thought they were going to put some support around him and bring in some really good, effective assistant coaches and maybe even assist with the development coach role. I cannot believe it, frankly. You've got an interim board and you've got a CEO that's been appointed, Paul Guerra, who is overseas. I didn't even hear him make any sort of announcement.
No.
I don't even know where he is.
Well, they say he's part of this selection panel for the new coach, but I mean, was he a part of the decision to get rid of the old coach?
No one knows.
And where does Green get the power to make that move and then see you
know.
later, boys?
Yeah.
On a coach that had another, like, why? I know I was calling for it 2 weeks ago, but why couldn't you take this into the last year? Because I was calling for it because I thought you got to jump on Longmire
Yeah.
before anyone else does,
Yeah,
i.e.
yeah,
Carlton,
yeah.
right? Now, Carlton have stayed the course. Like, they've done what you wanted
Well,
to do.
exactly.
And they're probably going to get rid of a lot of their assistants
Yep.
and, beef everything up,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd think next year's probably Voss's last roll of the dice.
Yeah,
It seems what you're saying is you think Goodwin had earned that.
absolutely. I think he had earned it. I think that, there, in my opinion, that decision was emotionally charged after what happened with the St Kilda match,
Right.
and even Brad Green did say that that was a decision that was made, you know, after that actually happened.
Yeah.
So I just think that you just can't have these decisions made by interim boards and a CEO that's overseas.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry, but it is
it's a
ridiculous.
funny way to run a club, isn't it?
It's a very funny
I
way
mean,
to run a
even
club.
just to go through a year without a president and a
Mm,
CEO, but to make such a big decision while that happens,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
wow. So you're angry?
Oh yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm angry at it. I think it was the wrong decision, and Goodwin was hardly done by. And what it's going to do also, I reckon it's going to throw doubt into who's actually going to be staying next year as well. I do hope Petrarca stays, but wouldn't be surprised if there were some players like Petrarca that actually asked to be traded out.
Well, that's the question moving forward, isn't it? Because I didn't know at the time that Brad Green apparently had told the press, "Well, we expect to play finals." And I thought, well, hang on, have you told Goodwin? Because Goodwin's playing a lot of kids,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he seems to be under the impression that because he's got another year left,
yeah,
that he needs to get everything in a position to
yeah.
win the next flag,
That's right.
with a sort of a rebuild on the run.
Yeah,
But now, if you guys see yourself as well, not needing a rebuild and
yeah,
ready to go and
yeah,
try to win
yeah.
it, which I don't think you are.
No.
Not without like some serious, trade or some sort of a change. But you, I don't think you're bringing in like a culture leader. Well, not anyone I had in
No,
mind
no.
because I hadn't really thought it through. But apparently, coaching is so grueling, and I
Mm,
could totally accept this. That after 1 year off, sitting along, my like, no, battery's not recharged yet.
mm,
So it's not like you've sacked your coach because there's a better option.
mm.
And now you hear Nathan Buckley, and he's like, "Well, I'd be interested, but I need to know if I'm walking into a situation where they think we should be winning a flag in
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
couple of years,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
this is going to be a 4, 5, 6 year process."
Yeah, it's all about expectation setting, right?
Yeah, well, you can be realistic.
Yeah, you've got to be realistic. Not everyone's going to be in the top four, or obviously win the premiership either. So, or in the finals. So you've got to be real. And unfortunately, I just think there was some miscommunication when it
I
comes
don't think there
to
was enough communication.
yeah, yeah.
You've got to have the board and the coach on the same page.
Mm.
But if half the board aren't even like on holiday, what the hell is
Uh,
that?
it's not great, not great. And look, to be honest, this year I felt that we've been a bit mentally fragile in terms of if you have a look at our losses throughout the season. The first match we lost by 3 points against, or 2 points against GWS at the very last, throw of the dice there, and then four. We lost four in a row after that. Didn't even get close to winning. And then we win an easy one, and then all of a sudden we're starting to play and we're winning three or four in the trot again. But then something goes wrong, and then we lose a lot again. And I just think that there's something with this a playing group that I hate to say it, right? But you got to toughen up mentally. You've got to toughen up mentally. If you lose a game, work out why you've lost the game, go hard. I just think there's just been too many of these games, such as what I saw against Hawthorn yesterday, where we just seem to be like playing through the motions. We were being very predictable again, kicking long. And even in the first quarter, Petrarca was running down, through the middle. He had a player on the left of him, could have brought him into the into the game. But no, he looked at him and then he kicked long. He bombed long into the forward line. And then again, you had like a pack forming and, getting the ball out again. Too predictable. And if you ask me, I think that Melbourne also, in the off-season, they've got to get back to learning how to tackle and tackle well. Because too often I saw yesterday where we were tackling, but Hawthorn were actually getting a hand free to dish it off. And I saw it over and over again. And I'll go as far to say Rivers, I saw him 3 times getting brushed off by Hawks players.
Like a fly.
Like a fly. I mean, it is so important to be able to pressure.
I know, mate, but it's been a lot of years since you guys have gone into the last 2 or 3 games, and they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
You know, you've lost a coach. It's been a bloody long year.
It has been a long year.
You know, May going out 3 games suspended couldn't have come at a worse time, but then he comes back. What did Gunston kick? 7?
7. Mate, he looked out of sorts. He needs to freshen up.
Unfortunately, I've seen this before where you've got a team who are ironing out the kinks for their grand final, for their premiership run, and the other team's just the sacrificial lamb, who's turned up to be, slaughtered basically.
Yeah.
And I think your guys are in Bali already.
Oh, I agree. I felt even, dare I say, Pickett didn't
Not
have
his best game.
Not his best game.
No.
And why was Milsham's
No idea.
substitute?
Yeah, but now you've welcome to the world of bad coaching, mate. When you have someone who's coaching their 2nd or 3rd game, and he's decided that your best forward for the year,
For the year,
apart from maybe Pickett.
Yeah.
When he's there for sure, it's Pickett. But Maxine's been great.
He's been awesome.
Now I thought about why he might have done that, right? Because I heard him afterwards, Chapman, say we wanted to try some people in different positions, and it didn't work. Okay, so to me that means, all right, we want to see what Petrarca looks like in the forward line if that's the next phase of his career. Surely Melksham would be a great wingman to have with that. Mate, is it time to pull the pin on Van Rooyen, or are we riding? I mean, I know he's had his worst season, and it's only his 3rd season.
Yeah.
But, God, you need a key forward.
Yeah.
Jesus, you need a key forward. And I don't think he's it. I mean, you talk about how you got to get tougher.
Yeah.
I think that's a tough decision. But you guys have got a lot. This is going to be a tough summer. Like, I think the Bulldogs would snap Stephen May up like that. I think, dare I say it, they too would sell their soul for a premiership. But he would get them a lot closer. But what would you get for him? What have you got that's tradable? What do Petrarca and Olive and all those guys want to do? Big summer.
Yeah, it's a big summer. Lots of questions.
Yeah, look, my last one on this. I don't think the media ever knows who the next coach is going to be, right? But it was interesting that almost immediately they started talking about Buckley as, the leading contender. Do you want someone like that who's had some time out of the game, been studying it? I mean, sometimes this works and sometimes this doesn't, a guy who's had a go before. Or do you want, is there anyone that you have in mind, or are you happy with Buckley, or are you just just tell me who it is? Have you lost the faith in your board to make a good decision on that front?
Look, I'd be happy with Buckley. To me, I never thought I'd say that, but because I thought when he was coaching in Collingwood, he was very much a defensive coach. But to be honest, even when he's commentating, I've actually listened to him commentate as well. He seems to have really picked up in terms of I know it's commentary, but his insightfulness in the game.
He's impressive.
I sit there and go, yeah, you do know what you're talking about, Buckley. So I'd rather someone who can talk like that and can see certain things in a game and make those decisions. Because when he's commentating, he's not just talking about the here and now. He's actually talking about if I'd be doing this and I'd be doing that. And generally, 9 times out of 10, he's right.
It's not just on field either. about building the culture. He said something earlier this year. I think they were asking him about Carlton, and he was saying, "Look, you get the culture from the things that you ignore. If you let a little thing go, someone else is going to say, well, if he can get away with that, I can get away with this. And once you
Yeah.
let that go, and he actually used the example last year of Rochelle. And Rochelle had a couple of moments towards the end. Remember, he heard footsteps, he was going up for a mark, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
really embarrassing. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
I think he came out and said something about how they hate Port Adelaide. And then they dropped him. And everyone went, oh, that's a bit of an overreaction because they were booing him, the Port fans. And Buckley said, look, if you don't do those things, then people come out and, oh, Rochelle got away with saying that in the press, or, and you build a culture by saying, this is the way we do things. We keep our heads down, we concentrate on what we can control, and we play the best bloody footy. Don't get distracted by that stuff. And I think Melbourne and Carlton, to different extents, have let that stuff go. And to talk about you guys, I think he would have the respect. We're talking about a Brownlow medalist. We're talking about
Yeah.
a captain. Sure, he's never achieved the ultimate, but I think
Yeah.
the Melbourne players would have enough respect for
Oh, yeah.
Buckley that if he came in and said, "Look, that's not going to fly
Mm,
anymore,"
mm, mm,
I think he's one of the few contenders with the kind of
mm,
aura.
mm,
I can't see a first-year coach going, Stephen May, this is what we're going to do. I
mm,
think May'd go, yeah, sure.
mm.
But I mean, that's another question that you're going to have to ask over the summer. Can
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
get that guy back to, playing team footy?
Yeah. I mean, it's just not about him though. It's about gelling in the back line, right? And if you're going to play the likes of Turner, if you're going to play the likes of Blake Howes, even Tom McDonald, you've got to be able to gel in the back line.
Can I
And
see another tall forward you guys were trying yesterday? Can't think of his name.
yeah, there's Jefferson,
No, there's him,
there's
but I've seen.
Henderson,
Is there a Henderson?
there's a Henderson. I'm pretty sure there's a Henderson
It
as well.
seems like,
Yeah,
I don't want to be harsh,
yeah,
but it seems like you just have this production line
yeah.
of very average talls.
But this is what I'm talking about. They've been doing really well on the VFL level, but when they're stepping up to AFL, I mean, probably an exception at the moment. I think Jay Cully's done, still doing really well at the AFL level. He's played 3 games for us, and yeah, he certainly looks at home. But
What did you think of T-Mac getting substituted out at about
I
half time
think
for Melksham?
was he injured or
I
I
don't think so, mate.
I would have to be honest, I would have substituted May out than T Mac. I
It's a
saw
tough matchup, Gunston.
I saw T Mac, play against the Bulldogs, and he was almost best on ground in my opinion. Right?
Not in Chaplin's opinion yesterday, mate.
Well, I don't know what is going on because he had Darcy last week.
He did do well against Darcy.
And Darcy kicked 2 goals. One was pretty much a soda, and
Probably a better matchup for T-Mac. I don't think you've got anyone who can go with a leading forward like Gunston.
since he's off the charts.
Georgiades did the same thing to you, remember?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true. Gunston's. It's unbelievable what he's done.
I know.
He went to Brisbane. It wasn't even seen in Brisbane.
They played him in the reserves in the first
Yeah.
2 games of this year, Hawthorn did, and he's kicked 60 goals
I,
now. Unbelievable.
is he the story of the year?
He'd be close. Yeah, yeah. I mean, him, side bottom, and Elliot seem to have drunk from the eternal youth fountain.
Yeah, well, you know, it's incredible he's come back to the Hawks and he's done what he's done.
I know.
And not just at the back end of the year, it's actually the front end of the year as well. When they needed, goals kicked, he was really the only one that was kicking goals. Now you've got the likes of Dylan Moore, you've got all those other players, Cal Shadir coming through,
Hawthorn.
finding form again at the
Hawthorn are
right
a
time.
very interesting
They
part
are
of
a
this
smoky,
season.
absolutely. I'm getting
They're as
excited.
hot as anyone.
I think been a lot to talk about. We finished.
Look, can I just finish on Essendon?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
There's a thing after so many just big losses
Yeah.
to finally have look, it was a 2 point loss. And I know I sat here 2 weeks ago and said, oh, we actually want to lose. That was hard. It was hard to lose by 2 points. But we found a few things.
You did.
So Jaden Nguyen is now in his third game, picking up their best small forward, and gave away a couple of free kicks that he actually had already won the contest. He didn't need to, and that was 2 goals to Higgins.
Yeah, yeah.
But gee, I think we found something there. And because he can now play lockdown fullback, we've gone,
Ah,
well, the guy we picked up 10 years ago as a number one draft pick,
ah,
why don't we try him as a 27-year-old
yeah,
finally in the
yeah,
midfield?
yeah,
He went head to head with Naz,
yeah.
and I wouldn't say he's a tagger, but he's a back pocket guy playing midfield.
Mm,
And so he just has that you're not going to beat me
yeah,
mentality. And it was a good
yeah,
contest.
yeah.
So we've spent all year going, well, which one of our young players is going to, can we add to the midfield?
Mm,
Well, how about the guy we've, already poured 9 years into?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So happy, very happy with that. That new kid, Reece Unwin, he looks like something.
Mm.
And I think we have some really tough decisions because Langford looked really good.
Perkins?
Okay, I would keep Perkins.
Yeah,
There's just so much talent there that
yeah,
I think when we're good,
yeah,
I mean, you know me, I don't have respect for the guys who are the sprinkles on top.
yeah,
Like, be the ones who make us a good team. But I think when we are a good team,
yeah,
Perkins will be good.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I would keep him.
yeah,
Hobbs, I think we have seen his ceiling. Sardis, he's out. But every time I see him, I don't think there's enough. So, and whatever
yeah,
we could get for those
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
But really tough.
yeah,
I'm sitting here 2 weeks ago going, well, get what you can for Langford.
yeah,
And suddenly, he
yeah,
comes back and he's a very good
yeah.
player. Um, and Lual and
Mm,
all those guys, Blackiston. I'm like,
okay.
by the way, McMahon, uh,
Mm,
7 goals in the last
three
two.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
and
he was
four the week
injured.
before. Was he?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Not down
massive
injured.
shock.
Yeah,
But just the one positive out of all of these injuries is that we've got to see these guys
yeah,
on turbo boost with their
yeah,
careers a little
yeah,
bit. So Zach Johnson's gone back to reserves. Some of them they're just not ready for a whole season.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the more I see of Angus Clark, there's definitely something there.
yeah.
So there's some really tough decisions, but
Mm.
nice to finally see a little bit of hope.
Yeah, no, agreed, agreed, and agree with McGrath as well. I mean, he did have a really good game. Picked up 35 possessions, but they were quality. He was running hard against Naz, who's probably the hottest ticket in town at the moment.
And also, as captain, and Redmond as another
Yeah,
senior leader when we're missing so many of them,
yeah,
like hats off to them for playing so well. And
yeah,
Redmond had a
yeah.
chance to win it. And if I could just pay respect, I
Mm,
think that's the last time we ever see Jaden Laverty, who
mm,
was amazing in the first quarter because King's not there. The thing about Laverty is he's not big enough to be your fullback, right?
yeah.
But when he gets an undersized opponent, he can really dominate.
Mm,
And
mm,
when he went out injured, our backline, basically, we now don't have any
yeah,
key backs,
yeah.
right? They're all gone. So just before we move on,
Mm,
you know, it's probably time for Jaden to seek greener pastures or
mhm.
retire. But thank you.
Yeah,
For a guy who's squeezed everything out of probably an undersized frame.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
I will. As much as I've complained about him, I will miss him.
yeah. No, it's good. It's good to hear. Just one thing, last thing from me.
Sure.
I heard what Brayshaw. I listened to Brayshaw, James Brayshaw,
Mm,
said about the schedule, the controversial schedule we've had,
mm,
and I love his idea. He what he suggested was that every team plays each other
mm,
once, and the bottom six play each other again
mm.
for the number one draft pick to make it
When he
exciting.
gets the draft pick.
Yeah, so the winner of that actually gets the number one draft pick because of the unevenness of and it, I love it because these matches where you've got the lower order teams playing against each other,
Mm.
which really don't count for anything, they all of a sudden count.
Look, I think it's a bigger problem. I heard during the week that 42 of the last 44 games between a top nine side and a
Yeah,
bottom nine
yeah,
side have
yeah,
been won by the top nine side. I think we've got a problem. I
yeah.
think the draft at the moment is so compromised. I don't see how you're going to
Mm,
reach get to where Brisbane and Gold Coast are when they keep getting the best players in the draft through their academies. So I think there's a real problem there because that 42 out of 44, the only two winners have both been Sydney. And Sydney have the kind of list where they could win a flag. If Goulden and Heaney and Grundy and Warner and Blakey and all those guys fire, I think the top 10 teams are all good enough if everything went right to win a flag. The bottom 8, I don't know who's going to be next year's Freo and Gold Coast who were outside of the 8 and got in. Is it just going to be the teams who had unbelievably bad years this year anyway, like a Sydney and, Freo if they miss again or Bulldogs? Don't tell me it's going to be one of them because they're already one of the 10 who are really good. I'm worried about St Kilda, Carlton, Essendon, Melbourne, North. The gap between the haves and have-nots. Look, Richmond have done what they need to do. It'll take them years to get back to where they were, but what they did in last year's draft should get them there. But the rest of us, I'm really worried about that.
Well, I think something needs to happen. So I'd be interested to see what actually, what ideas come out because
I'm not sure the AFL are the best run sport in Australia anymore, but that's a conversation for another day.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Wonderful chatting football with you, Dave.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
There's a lot going on, and we're excited. And catch us also on Spotify as well. We've launched our
Hit the big time.
Hit the big time. So looking forward to catching up again in another incredible couple of rounds coming up. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.